Alright, this video was about McDonald's in Hardin, Montana. This is, on the Crow Reservation. Um, Last night I spoke to the manager, Ken, about, me being there. Um, there was a lady who had been staring at me, well, pretty well mean mugging me for being there. Now, every morning, there's a group of older folks. They come in, they come in as soon as the place opens. They buy one cup of coffee, and they all sit there until about 10 or 11. Now, the rule is you have to buy something to be there, and you only have a 30-minute limit. That depends on who you are in your social class, though. I spoke to Ken last night. I explained to him that I was going to be here for probably about 4 or 5 days, and let him know that if he wanted me to go, just to let me know. He said as long as they're not full, he didn't have a problem with it because he knows I buy stuff, and that they have customers that they sit longer than that. And like this morning, there was a gentleman who came in. He didn't even buy anything. He just sat next to me, really close next to me, close enough I couldn't walk around him to get to the bathroom without having to really squeeze myself tight. But so this lady, her name is Angela. She's one of the morning assistant manager type folks. Um, Last night I explained to Ken what it was that I was doing there, and he didn't have an issue with it. He said as long as I buy something, and he said if they get busy though, he might ask me to leave until they're not busy. I told him I was fine with that. So this morning I had just bought something. Just bought something. Angela, she walks right past all of these old folks that are in there to tell me that their limit is 30 minutes, which I was already aware of. The rules apparently only apply to me, though. They do not apply to anybody else there. Um, they did ask some kids to leave the other day because the kids were being extremely loud. Yesterday, those very same kids were throwing some little poppers on the floor, and the employees completely ignored it. So I'm over there in the corner minding my business, and that's why Ken didn't have an issue with me being there. I mind my business. So I went to talk to Angela about it. Bought myself a biscuit, even though I hate their biscuits, but they're only $1. So I asked her why it is that the rules were different for me. Um, well, she didn't have very good excuses. She went down the line of excuses, matter of fact. So she didn't address at all the fact that them old people were there to begin with. Then she said, well, they're not there all day. Neither am I. But she claimed that I am. Which, alright, I spend most of my day in there, so it makes sense. She can win on that one. However, the other issues that were addressed, the 30-minute thing, I had just bought something. So, don't I get 30 minutes? No, apparently not. Um, I felt it was rude and inconsiderate, but it's also a power and control thing. This woman obviously doesn't have enough power and control in her own life, and she needs somebody that she can get away with asserting her power and control over. That's where I come in. She can get away with it. I'm not 6 customers that are going to walk out at once and say, screw it, we're going to go somewhere else. I'm just one customer who's going to walk out and go, screw this, I'll go somewhere else. So this woman, at first, she was trying to tell me that it was because I was there longer than 30 minutes. So I pointed out them old people. And she said, well, they're not there all day. And then she tried telling me, what was it, that I needed to buy something, which I had. I got my receipt. Says that I bought something recent enough that I could be there for my 30 minutes. And that wasn't acceptable because they were busy. At the time, there was a grand total of 9 people in the whole building that are customers. 6 of them were those old people, and then me and 2 other customers. The lobby is basically empty. Those old people are taking up 2 of the 7 tables that are just on that side of the building. And there's 11 other tables in the building that nobody's at, but they're full. There's nobody in line. If there was somebody in line, I'd have been patient about talking to her. So, although Ken didn't have an issue with it, and he was fine with it, and he's apparently the store manager, this woman, who's the assistant manager, wanted someone she could assert her control over. The rules are different. Depends on who you are. Are you a local who goes in every morning to have your coffee for hours on end? Or are you somebody they don't know who looks homeless, has a beard, however, just like pretty much everywhere I go, the little kids love me, which is kind of creepy. I mean, it's always been that way. As far back as I can remember, kids and dogs love me. I used to say kids and dogs love me because they're stupid, but really, it's the adults that are stupid. Kids love right. They can tell who's a good people and who ain't. Same thing with dogs. But also, we teach our kids who to hate. Same thing with dogs. If a dog doesn't like black people, it's because you, as their owner, you get anxiety when you see black people because you're afraid. Kids are similar, but you have to teach them differently. They're not as in tune with you emotionally. A dog very much is. Humans like to use their words, and their words are supposed to be their emotions. But then again, we live in a society where you're supposed to be happy all the time. If you don't say you're happy, then you're not a good person. You're a bad person who just wants attention. Well, that is true, actually. If you want attention, there's probably a reason. For me, I wanted positive attention. Natalie gave me that positive attention. They invited me to go places. They invited me to do things. They actually helped me out. Natalie, Alicia, and Maddie. Right now, I'm writing a story about the things that have happened to me. I don't know that I'll get it finished, but I do know there's a lot of situations that I've had to deal with where people who were pretending they wanted to help, pretending they were going to, went out of their way to do everything that they could not to, just to pretend. There's a woman named Brooke Freeman. This woman, way back when Natalie died, was texting me stuff like, if you need someone to talk to, let me know, blah, 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 blah. Well, recently she pretended that she had cancer as her excuse not to do the things that she said, claiming that I was aggressive and saying that she's in a relationship. Well, if you can't be honest with the person you're in a relationship with, that's not my problem, and punishing me for it is not acceptable. Now, I did get a hold of her on her timeline because she promised to help me. Was I rude and inconsiderate? No, not even close. She didn't read her messages, wouldn't read her messages. And then she went out of her way after months of ignoring me, and this is after she had gotten on a post of mine saying Previously she was going to help me, but ignoring me and ignoring me and ignoring me. And then she saw a post that she didn't like, and instead of talking to me about it and finding out what it was about, like most of you, she got on that post and treated me like shit. That's called calling someone out. Everybody that I called out called me out first. Every one of them. And then they want to whine like mules when I call them out back. I will call you out back. I don't mean call you out back to fight. I mean call you out back in return. But the rules are different. So I'm writing this story, and I don't know that it'll ever go anywhere, but I'm definitely sending it out to whoever I can. I don't have a lot of email addresses to send it to, but that's neither here nor there. There's a lot of people that I know that are addicts, and I helped them out despite the fact that they were addicts. They made decisions, though, based on their addictions. They don't want people to know about their addictions. So they treat me like trash. Well, instead, treat me like trash that got your addictions out there for the whole world to know, Christine, Natalie, Maddie, Alicia, Danica, Shelly, Tim, Ted. You guys made a decision. You made a conscious decision. Your conscious decision to lie to me outright and to treat me like trash outright. Well, that ultimately is what got you exposed. Not only did you not keep your word, you treated me like trash to hide your addictions, affecting public opinion. Now, you guys say you shouldn't care about what other people think. I don't get to go to see my friends and my family because of what other people think. Dan Faber, here's a feller who he wanted to assume the worst in me on multiple occasions, but I owe it to him to let him do that because he sent me money. No, I don't. I'll call your ass out. If you're going to be shitty to me and not make any effort whatsoever to find out what's going on and just assume that I am wrong, well, yeah, I don't have a place for you. You're a first-class piece of shit and I don't want you in my life. That's not an issue with me. If you need my help, don't stab me in the back. Also, keep in mind I'm a stupid dog. If you stab me in the back, you let me know later on down the road that you need my help, I will pull that knife out of my back to unbind you. I will pull that knife that you stuck in my back out of my back to cut those ropes so you can go free. Then again, I'm not afraid of my sins. I'm not afraid of my addictions. My addictions are different than most, though. I'm not addicted to drugs. I'm not addicted to alcohol. I'm addicted to positivity, which I don't get in my life. I will not be ashamed for that. I absolutely will not. Pretty words. Those pretty words to show your shitty assumptions. Pretty words like you gotta love yourself. I do love myself. I know what my content of character is. Whereas most of you, I know your content of character too, and it's dependent. You don't mind at all tearing somebody else down for their own character flaws. Even if they don't have those character flaws, if it's somebody that you can get away with tearing down, You'll throw your character flaws onto them. And that's what my story is about. Every one of these people had the opportunity to listen to me. Of course, most of them are addicts. They say, I understand because I went through all that. I went through the system. I've been raped. I've been stabbed. Some of them been shot. We all been beaten. Nearly all of us anyway. But I don't have that addiction. I never got addicted to heroin. I never got addicted to meth. Why? Oh my God, that's a good story. I never got addicted to heroin because I never tried it. Most people get addicted to heroin starting off with pain pills. I don't take pain pills. I can handle the pain. Between taking the pain and having my brain, or taking the pain pills and losing my damn mind, I choose not to lose my mind. I don't see any issue with that. Now, part of my story has to do with racism. That's important too. There's a guy who was helping me. His name is Brian Townsend. We had to deal with racism on a couple of occasions because, well, in the Longmont Super 8, for example, they didn't like the fact that black men were there. We rented a room with 2 beds for a reason. Then again, that don't matter when you're racist. Now, does it? While we were there was a bunch of white folks out back, right outside of the door, smoking marijuana, smoking cigarettes, and it was fine. However, it's not okay for those black people to be there. The dude at the counter accused them of selling drugs out back. Why? Because Brian Townsend and his brother Clyde just happened to not be white. The most fucked up part is that dude at the counter is Asian. Racism knows no bounds, does it?